All right, you're listening to HawkeTalk. I'm here today with Jamal Hill. How you doing, man?
Doing excellent, sir. Happy to be on HawkeTalk.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So, you know, gotta ask, I assume you like swam out of the womb and just started going right away, like you're a swimmer from birth, and that's just, and then you ended up, with being a, Olympian and all this. Like that's just how it went, right?
That is
As you pointed the gold medal behind you for the people listening. Yeah.
it's a bronze.
Oh, it's a bronze. Sorry.
Hey, if you never seen a gold medal before, though, it looks like gold. Trust me.
Exactly.
But it's a bronze. It's a bronze.
Yeah.
You got the gist of it. There's
Yeah.
some troubles in between, but yeah, that's more or less came out swimming.
So let's start. Where are you from? Where were you born?
Inglewood, California, board Cedars-Sinai.
Oh, same actually.
Hey,
There
man, it's a great hospital to be born in.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Cedars-Sinai, Inglewood, California, my whole life. So I've been able to see kind of two Inglewood renaissances.
Yeah.
The Kobe and Shaq big Lakers form era of Inglewood. I was a little kid when that's going on, able to watch games at the Forum. And now we got this second coming on a whole nother level, right? They really all out.
Football stadium, the Forum's back, and you've got the Clipper Stadium going
Clipper,
in.
They just broke ground on the Clipper Stadium.
Oh, they broke ground. Wow.
Yeah, they had the groundbreaking ceremony 2 weeks ago. So
nice.
It's a good city.
And are you still there? Are you still living in Inglewood?
Still living in Inglewood, man. Awesome. I don't know that I would probably still live in LA no matter what. Maybe like visit other places for 3 months at a time, but this is my home.
So, I get it. It's a great spot. And so tell me about your upbringing. Your parents, were your parents athletes?
For sure. My parents, definitely both athletes. My mom was actually all around athlete. Came from a family of a lot of older brothers, one younger sister, single mom, grew up in Compton, California. Fantastic, just sports player in general. Was really good at track and field. She told me this story once. Apparently she had an opportunity to go for the Olympics herself.
Wow.
And, it was a different time. There was definitely not as woke. There was a much different subculture going on with just, number one, appropriate behavior for women. Then number two, appropriate behavior for Black women.
Yeah.
And again, she's coming from a single mom household who just busted her butt, grandma, working 2-3 jobs to take care of all these kids. So long story short, my grandma told her that she definitely was not allowed to try out and that she would be better off being like a stenographer or a typist or secretary or something. To this day, my mom does not know how to type. That goes to show you how she received that message. But my dad, another great athlete, definitely older, from the Midwest, from Kansas City, Kansas. And he was a hooper, basketball player. Came up, tried to make it to a few pro teams, just didn't work out for him. And did a little bit of work in Hollywood. And, once that was over, the two of them came together, and sometime later,
there you go. How it happens.
That's how it happens.
And so did you, like, as a young kid, were you always into sports? Like, what tell me about you. Like, how did it start?
For sure. So from day one, I was in Mommy and Me Aquatics. So from 10 months old. So I was, like I said,
wow, you really were. Yeah.
We can cut the show here. You nailed it. From day one, I was in Mommy and Me Aquatics, day 300, I guess, right? 10 months old. I was in Mommy and Me Aquatics. And again, my mom, just being a great athlete, she definitely could like make forward progress across a body of water, but she didn't really know how to swim. And that's its own story, man. But ultimately, from day one, she's just like, yeah, this kid's gonna know how to swim. He don't gotta be a swimmer, but he's gonna know how to swim. Yeah. And so came up literally in the local Westchester YMCA.
Nice.
So went Mommy and Me, and then I was in swim lessons, and I love the water, having a good time. One day I'm in swim lessons, probably, I don't know, some age between 4 and 6. And I see across the kiddie pool, I see in the big pool, swim practice just started. The swim team is here. Yep. And they're looking real good. That water over there is looking much wetter and bluer than the water in this little pool here. So I tell my mom after the swim lesson, hey, you got me in the wrong place here. I need to be over on that side. And, rambunctious kid, dude, she's like, Jamal, literally all I ever hear is your name when we're here at this swim lesson. You're never listening. The instructor, I would think you were the only person in the class, how much I hear your name.
Yeah.
Until you get your act together, no. The answer is no. Listen, we don't got to talk about incentives. I was a model student from that day on out.
Yeah.
And within 6 months or so, man, because I could swim at that point.
Yeah.
Within 6 months or so, I was on the swim team, and dude, it was really the only sport I was doing at that time. I was all in.
And how old were you?
I made that swim team about 6 or 7 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's decent, man. Like you talk to swimmers, that's like a regular age to really start being on a swim team.
Yeah.
So that's how it got started. I made the swim team, and didn't really have any other sports that I was involved in.
And is that a year-round thing with swimming? Because it can be. But...
That's a great question. Absolutely, it is a year-round thing.
Yeah.
It's a year-round thing, and it takes a lot of time and dedication, honestly. Especially just, there are definitely city leagues and county leagues that are more seasonal. But if you're a part of a program like a Y or some private club, it's year-round, man. So obviously, I'm 6 years old. My parents have to take me to practice every day.
Yep.
Parents have to wake me up at 4:35 a.m. on Saturday mornings to drive out to the valley for swim meets. So it was a family affair, and we really just all invested so much time, energy, and it's interesting. You ask my dad now, he'll say this is a lie and never happened, but I believe it did happen. Once upon a time, earlier on when I was in swimming, he's trying to get me more into basketball and just some other sports. And more or less the conversation goes, he's like, swimming's not even a real sport. Right, you're married, so imagine just saying something like that to your wife. She just is like, she went on, and she's like, if you want him to do any of these other things, you can take him after swim practice. And so I didn't end up at those other things.
I was just saying that would have been an even more commitment. Do the swimming, wake up at 4:30, go to swim practice, and then go play basketball. That would have been
exactly. So that was it, and obviously, still a proud father, man. Once you saw how much I loved it, and in all honesty, once I was good at it and I'm winning is fun, dude. It's real easy to get invested when you're working with a winner.
I was gonna ask, when did that start? Like, when did you go from like, this is fun and I like being in the nicer pool to, hey, I might actually have a knack for this?
Almost immediately.
Oh, okay. So you had a bit of a natural ability.
A bit of, definitely some natural ability, at least within my age range, but also just a high competitive sense.
Got it.
Extremely competitive. Like,
probably where did that come from, do you think? Because it's always interesting to see, like, frankly, like personally, I'm not that competitive with other people. I'm competitive with myself. So like, I never did well in team sports because I could give a shit about the other team. Like, I really get into like beating my own times and doing my own thing. But but there's other people that like even my own brother, so raised by the same parents. He is hyper competitive and was a big basketball player. So,
okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I think. So I'm definitely now a lot more like how you described yourself to be.
Yeah.
My extreme competitive edge is always with myself.
Yeah.
But I think just at that time as a kid, it's probably still the same competitiveness, but at that time it was just misguided, right? Like there's a lot of distractions. Yeah. So it's like, I understand the principle of a race is to be the first one to touch the wall. So if this kid is touching the wall before me, that means I'm not doing very good, Yeah. So I really think it was just so simple, right? Like it's a race. You do this stroke for this distance, and the goal is to go as fast as you can, AKA in a child's mind, beat everybody.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from.
Nice, got it. And so 6'7", you were already pretty good. Were you the best on your team already, or?
In my age group, definitely, man. I was already winning medals by 8, 9. Like we're going to the swim meets, and again, I think maybe the oldest kids on our team are like middle schools, maybe young high schoolers, but out of our age group and the whole team, like, I'm winning high points. I'm winning high points at these meets because I'm just swimming all these events and I'm beating this county, this place. I was doing. Fact. I own more medals and trophies from the ages of 6 to 10, not participation, no shame to anyone else. More trophies and medals than I do in my entire high school, collegiate, and probably professional swimming career at this point in time.
Got it. So you really just accelerate like that age. So what happened after 10 then? What happened when you started in middle school, high school?
Oh man. So 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm a February baby, February 24th.
That's my sister's birthday.
That's your sister's birthday?
Yeah.
There we go. Synchronicity.
Yeah.
I met your mom, and I'm like, I know I like her, and it's because she birthed a February 24th baby. That's what it was. Yep. So it's early spring, and my dad is, he's really involved at this point. So he's the one really taking me to practices on a daily basis. We're at the Westchester YMCA, and we're playing basketball. We're playing like trash can basketball in the locker room. So, after practice,
yeah,
I'm taking my time. We ball up the paper towels,
yeah,
and we're shooting them. We're shooting him in the hoop, and he's definitely always better than me, but it's okay. So it's fun. We're having fun. And for some reason, I say, hey, look what I can do. And I go and I take my right arm and I completely dislocate my shoulder out of socket. Like,
wow.
You would know this, like maybe not younger people, but you would know, like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just boom, pop him, but I don't even have to like bang it against something to get it back in socket. I can just I can pop it in and out, and he gets this, he gets this wide-eyed side mouth look like, I don't think that's right, dude. I don't think that's normal. And so we go see a doctor, and the doctor says to my parents, it's his shoulder has this severe dislocation, and unless he stops swimming and we immobilize this shoulder, aka put him in a sling for 6 to 8 months, we might have to amputate that arm at some point.
Jesus.
I know.
Just because of a dislocation, or was there another problem with it?
Listen, in my young mind, I'm like, bro, I'm not a doctor. I'm a kid. I don't know a whole lot. This seems like we're blowing it way out of proportion. I'm in no pain.
Yeah.
I have complete feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called this time, but it's like, this is sounding like some hypermobility. I don't think this is anything that.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's like a different time. And dude, the doctor just told you that unless your kid stops swimming and we put his arm in a sling, we're going to have to chop off the arm.
Yeah.
I've never been in that position, but, I understand. Like, I get it. Swimming is out.
And when you were that age, I mean, how quickly did you accept that, or like, did you fight it? Because obviously swimming was such a huge part.
I mean, you know what? To be fully transparent, I repressed a lot of that. Like in my present mind and memory, it was a transition period. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't remember throwing any major tantrums or just becoming unruly or anything like that. But dude, this is the love of my life at this point in time.
Right.
This is what I go to school, go to swim practice, go home, go to sleep. Yeah. There were times in my life at this point. We're talking about February 24th. I had a birthday. On my birthday, same schedule. Yeah. I'm a champ at this young age, right? Go to school, go to swim practice, come home after swim practice. My parents have thrown a surprise party for me at home. Yeah. By the way, nothing has changed in my life. They're throwing a surprise party for me. I walk in the door, half sleep with the parka. Friends are there. Everybody's like, surprise. And I'm just like, dude, this was a terrible idea.
I'm exhausted. Yeah.
I'm ready to go to bed. Yeah. So it's like, this is my thing. It was a transition. And I mean, on top of that, there were levels to it. I'm right-handed. So now my whole right shoulder is in a sling. I'm like second, third grade right now. I was 10 years old. I'm trying to learn how to write with my left hand. Like I gotta leave this alone. So I'm gaining a little bit of ambidexterity. But I'll definitely give a lot of credit to my parents. They had a lot of forward thinking. I think just a lot of wisdom with their years. I have older parents that have a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. they pushed me into the next thing. So this was my dad's opportunity for basketball, you know? So I started working on my left hand, and in today's game, like, it's common, right? Everybody has to be able to play with two hands, but dude, even just, literally, what are we talking about? Like, even just 15 years ago, being able to use both hands on the basketball court, like, that was not a very common skill.
Got it.
So started to do that, pretty much rode that bus for about 8 months. My arm comes out of a sling. I'm back to normal, I feel like, for the most part. Same year. So this happened in the spring of, you know, whatever year this is. In the fall of that year, Thanksgiving, we're headed out to Valencia, right? So Six Flags country here in Southern California for Thanksgiving dinner. I'm in the back seat. I fall asleep in the back seat, laying on the door, wake up. My right arm is asleep. In my mind, no big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I had that happen.
Yep.
Slept on it too long. No worries. Get out the car, playing with my cousins, but my arm's not waking up. I'm like, all right, this is a little weird. And I'm feeling and just incredibly lethargic. Like, I shouldn't be this tired. I can't even move. I feel like I can't really run. I don't have any energy. So I noticed, like, okay, I'm starting to feel some numbness, dude. My cousins are playing. I just go and I lay down in the treehouse, and I'm like, I'm gonna just lay here until dinner and gather myself. Get up. They're calling us for dinner. My left arm is gone numb now for the most part. Like, I can almost feel it spreading. Sit down for dinner. I'm sitting next to my dinner. I can't pick up my fork and knife right now.
Yeah.
I look to him, Dad, I don't know how to say this. I can't move. Again, just like when we were playing basketball that day. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, I can't move. I can't move my arms. I can't pick up this fork. He's like, all right, well, come on, get up. Let me talk to you. Go to stand. I can't stand. It's like, I'm here and I'm present and I can speak, but my connection with my entire body has poofed. You know, like, I can feel the chair underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel these other things, but internally nothing is working.
Yep.
Picks me up. We don't even have Thanksgiving dinner that year.
Yep.
Picks me up, immediately takes me to the hospital. They start to run some CAT scans, inconclusive. From there, I'm immediately sent over to Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Great place, by the way.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get there, dude, man, I got to live every kid's dream. I got to be wheeled into a dark basement and poked and prodded. Spinal taps with like 9-inch needles put in. If anyone has ever seen an MRI machine, it is not built for the claustrophobic.
No.
You know, you got this huge machine, like easily probably a 15 by 15 foot machine, and the hole is just tiny little this tiny little thing. So just all of these things just all at once being bombarded. Gotta run tests. And again, thank God my parents are there, dude. I still have to do some of these tests now, being a Paralympian. Yeah. And it's stressful.
Yeah.
Like, it's stressful. It's extremely stressful. So ultimately the diagnosis came back that I had a hereditary disease called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. It's suspected that that's really what was maybe going on earlier that year. Mm-hmm. It had started to just kind of become present and manifest in different ways, but now it was full-fledged. And so I was really left in this temporary paralyzed state for like 2 to 3 days.
Wow.
So I'm in a hospital bed, just like I'm talking to you now, can move my head back and forth, but the doctor says, hey, pick up your hand or point at this, shake it. Couldn't do it. Now this is gonna sound crazy, but I've always had a real friendly disposition. So during this time, I don't know if it's just that young mind, but it's obviously very serious, but this is not life or death.
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense. Like, yeah.
No, it does. And I mean, did you know that? Were they quickly like, this isn't life-threatening, but it's going to mess with your motor skills, or?
No. So there was no conversation ever had with me at this age.
Got it.
There was no conversation, but like still just from an experience standpoint, you know, short of something that usually, you know, when something's life or death, like if you're walking on an edge, you know, if I lean this way, well, so I can feel this is not right. This is not good, but it's not life or death. And that was peaceful. So after a few days, ultimately that was a highly inflamed state of Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Once this inflammation had reduced, I was pretty much left with 30% nerve capacity from my elbow to my fingertips and 0% nerve capacity from my knees to the soles of my feet.
Got it. And was that a cause from that specific episode, or was it just something that would deteriorate over time? Like, how does that disease work?
Yeah, that's a great question. The short answer is they still don't understand a lot of it.
Got it.
But ultimately, it's hereditary. It's a gene. It's run in my family. I have uncles who have it and things like that. It affects everyone similarly but differently. And this episode, it was triggered, and then this episode happened. And now coming out of this episode, I went from a regular 10-year-old kid, very athletic, still don't know how to really use my body, but I'm getting the hang of it, to now I got this new body that, in my humble opinion, works a lot less better than the last body I had. So I got to figure this out. I got to figure out how to stand, how to walk, how to hold things. I'm the first one, dude. Texting in bed, that thing will drop on my face. I got the butterfinger. So how do I now live this new life in this new body? And for me at that time, 100%, my parents are everything. The doctors came back with the diagnosis, and the story goes, my mom told them, don't you dare say anything to Jamal about this. Nobody talks to him about what this is and what the limiting factors are. If you do, I will come back. I will burn this hospital down. So don't try me. Don't play with mom and her cubs. Don't do it, dude. And the thought process behind that was that she didn't want me to begin to believe any limits that was going to be set by some diagnosis or some book or what people can and can't do.
Yep.
It was just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you got out of there, so when you say 0% nerve from your knee to your, is it like completely numb, knee down?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ultimately what that means is, so if you were to kick me or I bang my leg against something, I can feel that. So I can feel pain. What 0% nerve capacity means is that, like, wiggling my toes is not really a thing, or even muscle degeneration is constant, right? What it feels like on a day-to-day basis is like I'm walking on my kneecaps.
Okay.
So imagine someone imagine a double below knee amputee.
Yep.
And they have prosthetic lower limbs. Only my prosthetics are flesh and bone.
Got it.
So that's what it is. And then similar situation with my elbow to my fingertip. So, I mean, just a little bit more context with that. And having tests as an adult now. So if we could just do a little Quentin style and jump over here to an adult. In 2018, when I first joined the Paralympic movement, obviously I had to go get all this stuff rechecked and certified. And so what they do is they electrocute you. It's more they have a scientific name.
I get it.
They electrocute you to make the nerves fire, right? To make the nerves fire and react. Yeah. So they do it to my chest. My whole body jumps crazy. They lay me on my stomach, facing away from the doctor. My legs are up in the air. And I'm having a conversation with this doctor for about 6 or 7 minutes. And I ended up asking him, like, hey, you going to get started anytime soon? Like, I'm... And he's like, yeah, no, actually, I've been doing it since before we started talking. And it's very apparent that there's nothing going on here. I'm actually baffled as to how you walked in here today. So that's just a little bit more context about Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So
got it.
All this is happening at 10 years old during Thanksgiving break. So I'm in the hospital for 3 weeks, dude. Wow. And the trippy part is, because it's holiday season, I'm not even missing.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I'm not even missing. Everybody's on break. I'm not missing any school. I'm not missing no friends. I'm 10. I don't have a cell phone. The cool kids don't have a cell phone yet. Nobody knows what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so really with that decision that my parents made to really keep me in the dark about a name and a diagnosis, obviously I knew what I experienced and what this new experience is like now. But coming back into regular life day to day, it was swept under the rug, something I never.
I have assumptions, but I'd love to ask, do you think that was a good thing that it was swept under the rug?
Yeah, heck yeah. I think life is about duality. So there were some really, really positive, powerful things that came from that.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in my life, there were a lot of really, really challenging things that I had to overcome because of this persona and identity that I had built, you know,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately like an identity of denial in so many ways. So if I had to do it all over again, sure. I think any wise man would say, let's do it the same because we know what happens.
Yeah. Seems to work out. Yeah. So you get, you know, when did you go back to school? Is it after winter and everything, or like?
Yeah, so I'm back in the spring, literally after Christmas break.
Yeah.
Like however it worked out during that time, it just like, oh, well, I guess Jamal just was like, he's taking Thanksgiving and Christmas break, you know, he's on holiday now.
Yeah.
You know, so there were no questions. There was no nothing when I came back.
And like, did you walk right away? Like, were you okay? Like, how long did it take you to like get used to it?
It didn't take me long to be able to figure out walking. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just really, I mean, I'm saying basic physics, but yeah, it's like, keep this portion of your leg underneath this portion of your body and you'll have balance.
Yeah.
You know? So after a couple of days, I got the hang of it now. Am I the best runner? Absolutely not very fast. My jog is more of a trot. For a tall guy, I have a very small stride.
Yeah.
Understandable. So,
yeah.
Makes sense. So, I mean, in that respect, it was, that was no great hurdle to overcome necessarily. Trying to get to a point where I could just blend in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. And so what happened next? Like, talk to me about, like, did you get back into swimming? Like, what?
No, heck no, man. Swimming is still off the table, dude.
Yeah.
Once they said chop off an arm, dude, swimming, don't talk about swimming around here.
Yeah.
Swimming is not interesting. And I'm 10 years old, dude.
Yeah.
You know, ain't no reasoning as a 10-year-old kid, you know, especially where I come from, at least, you know, different strokes for different folks, but a kid has a kid's place, you know what I'm saying? So nothing to talk about. And I understood that as a kid. I don't need to, only thing this is going to do is make my life harder. So came back to school and, you know, ultimately, man, just like lived a pretty regular mundane life, blended in, you know, anything that I was coming up against as challenges, you know, I would come home like, there's no way that this kid should be able to beat me at this. Can you see me? Look at this kid. Like, you know, not trying to shame anybody, but it's like, if they were just looking at us, I am the winner. But for some reason, I'm not winning. Like, this kid is able to jump higher than me, or this kid is able to run fast, or this, all these different things. And it's like, because I don't really have access to my entire body. And without fail, for years, my parents would always say, look, a lot of people that tell you there are guarantees in this world. We're going to give you one guarantee. No matter what it is, if you're working at something, promise you, if you continue to practice it, you will 100% become better than you currently are right now.
Touche.
That's it. Don't know if you'll ever beat that other kid.
Yep.
Can't speak on it. But if you work at it, this thing, whatever it is, and you practice, you're going to get better. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice.
Attitude.
And so I'm curious, since you were so all encompassed with swimming up until that year, what replaced that? Like, when you went back to school, like, what were you doing? Did you have a new hobbies or?
Initially, I don't know that. I mean, like, you know, I started to do a little bit more basketball. We had a basketball court in the driveway. I did Pop Warner football. That was like one of the earliest ones. I did Pop Warner. Hated Pop Warner football because I was a tall kid. And when you're little, it doesn't matter how big you are. If you're tall, you get put on the line. Yeah. So I'm like, who in the world wants this job? Like, you know, I never touched the ball. Like, I don't need to run it, but let me try throwing it. Let me try catching it, something. Yeah. So after a year of being on the line, dude, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, so did that for a year. Started to play basketball a little bit more. And this is one of those things where that competitiveness that you were asking me about, where you could kind of really see that my competitive is a lot more like yours. Yeah. And that I just never had this killer instinct on the basketball court or on the football field because I didn't really care. Yeah. Like, I'm playing basketball because it's fun. I like
Yeah.
developing these skills. I like being able to do cool tricks, but like, do I really care? Maybe if we're playing one-on-one, I
Yeah.
care about winning, but like in this team atmosphere, like, bro, I don't really care. You can sit me on the end of the bench and I'll just sit there all game. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my attitude, you know? So
Yeah.
that went on for like 6 years, from the age of 10 through elementary school, through middle school, all into my freshman year of high school. And, you know, just along the way, yeah, different people would pick up on different things, but this is so far removed from most people's scope of experience. There's no way
Right.
anyone could connect these dots.
Yeah.
It's like,
So you still didn't talk to friends about it that you.
oh no, dude, this is under the rug and under the floorboard.
So again, you had the 0% nerve. Was that so? You were playing football and really couldn't feel the lower half of your legs.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's awesome though. I mean, and honestly, like I love that your parents did that, because like it's like the benefit of having the excuse. There is no benefit. You know, I get the reason, but it encouraged you to go be a kid and go do all the things you would have done anyways, even with a limitation that, you know, frankly doesn't sound like it really disrupted that part of it.
Dude, it didn't took a lot. If anything, it just made me an incredibly humble human being, for sure. For sure.
Awesome.
All those times where the ego and arrogance wanted to just take over. No, sir. This is divine intervention. This is not your destiny.
Yeah.
So that was it. Yeah. Never talked to any friends about it. Never talked to any family members about it, except for the few that had dealt with it in their own lives. Right. And even they knew this is not something publicized. And it started, in all honesty, to fall so much into the background that I knew it was there, but I lived life as if it wasn't. I completely ignored it. You know, like if anyone had asked me, I never would have said anything about it.
Yeah.
Like people were just like, oh yeah, Jamal just can't jump. Like just like I'm a 6'4" guy, I've never dunked a basketball. And it's not for a lack of strength, you know what I'm saying? Or ability. It's like, well, it is a lack of ability because I'm jumping off my knees, you know? So it's a struggle. So things like that always being, you know, it took me, I've been working with it for 16 years now, but in those early years, a lot more clumsy, a lot more, but also a lot of things that are just associated with youth and adolescence and people coming to their body. So like I said, I'm just blending in and I got no complaints.
And so you hit high school, where to go from there?
Yeah, so I hit high school, man. I went to a math and science school. So my fam, like my aunts and uncles, are real brainiacs, like physicists, JPL, doctor type people. So I was always heavy into math and science. As a freshman, I went to a math and science specialty school. And after a year there, I was like, you know, this is great, but this is not the real high school experience. Like I need what I saw on TV. Yeah. So I ended up transferring to a school called Junipero Serra in Gardena, Serra High School, big football school, actually. Get there. I'm playing basketball at this time. Now I'm really caring. But they have a swim team, as fate would have it. They got a swim team, I think, either 1 or 2 years before I got there. And then they got rid of the swim team probably 1 or 2 years after I left there. So, divine window of opportunity. So I get there, man. They got a swim team. You know, now I'm a sophomore in high school. Definitely have garnered more respect with my parents. And it's been 6 years now since this incident happened with my shoulder. Hey, they got a swim team, dude. I was real good at this once upon a time. I want to do it. You sure? Is it, you know, all right. Yeah, go ahead. Go out for the swim team. But if anything's happening, you know, we'll take it accordingly. Right. Go out for the swim team. And it's a predominantly Black school, and second is Hispanic, and then third is the Samoan population. There's 2 white kids at the whole school. And on the swim team, it's a white guy that's a senior at this time while I'm a sophomore. There's a white girl that's a freshman while I'm a sophomore. And then there's me, who actually know how to swim, and they've been doing more year round. They're like they're in it. But pretty much our entire junior varsity swim team is at swim practice learning how to swim.
That's awesome.
they're at swim. So I was already like, even, you know, me thinking this logical fallacy that I was a beast 6 years ago, dude. I'm the most valuable swimmer in the county.
Yeah.
I got this. I'm a pro. Yeah, I'm telling the coach, dude, watch me work. just
Yeah.
watch me work. And I got this. So I'm already just top 3 on the team because of
Yeah.
what the team is like. But definitely was not how I remembered it. It was a lot harder, a lot more tiring. And for some reason, I was not as fast as I thought I should be.
Yeah.
So that's what it was like. Got into it again as a sophomore, man. And again, this experience that I'm having is under wraps. Nobody knows about this. I don't talk about it. The water is a very therapeutic place. Even people with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. Now, most of the Charcot-Marie-Tooth community is either semi-wheelchair bound, so like they can stand and things like that, but they keep a chair with them, or they wear these things called AFOs. That's an acronym for something fancy, but ultimately it's a lower leg brace. So kind of like they got the lower half of Forrest Gump going on.
Yeah.
So the people that I have met and encountered that don't wear AFOs and that don't, use wheelchairs necessarily have a habit of swimming. They have a habit of aquatic. So there's definitely something in that water there that is helpful. And I kind of glazed over this, but in that 6-year period, I'm talking about people wearing AFOs and all these things. Dude, when I say that I buried this so deep and refused to acknowledge it, I have sprained, I've never actually broken it, but I've sprained, twisted, every gnarly thing you can think that you could do to a human's ankle.
Yeah.
At least 200 times in my life.
I gotta imagine, because you can't feel it, so you step down wrong all the time, right?
Dude, I was always on crutches. I always had my ankles taped. Playing basketball, the low top shoes are the cool looking ones, man. I'm not trying to be out here freaking dork, wearing the high tops. And my dad's like, dude, you got to wear ankle braces. Hard headed.
Yeah.
No, sir. Get in the game, take a few steps, trip over my own foot, ankles twisted.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Can you feel it? Like, do you actually feel when you?
I feel the pain.
Yeah. You do. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My pain receptors work just fine.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
So I mean, the bright side to that though is I literally just jacked them up so bad over time and time and time again that now my ankles are pretty much like Gumby. They can bend any type of way, and I'm on.
Got it.
So nice. They don't work any better, but they're bulletproof is a new phrase, right? It's a popular phrase now. My ankles I got bulletproof ankles. Yeah. And the key is you just got to keep spraining and twisting them until they just will bend any way that they land. So there you go.
There you go. All right. You worked through it. So you started swimming. As you said, it was harder, but how did it go in high school?
High school went well, man. For my sophomore year, dude, I only swam 3 months out the year. So, imagine you're running Hawke Media 3 months out the year. You probably don't got the business you got. Yeah. Swimming 3 months out the year. Junior year, I might have swam 4 or 5 months. I'm a real seasonal swimmer. Senior year, I'm like, all right, let me take it serious. Let me really apply some pressure here. So if the season starts in February, I started swimming probably in October with a club team. And it went well, dude. Later that year, I ended up winning, actually. I ended up winning the 50-yard freestyle for our district, for our league. Wow. I ended up winning the 50-yard freestyle for our league. And it was a hell of a race, dude. It was the last swim of my high school career. So that type of energy definitely helped me. That energy helps, man. That's a superpower, and that's some gamma rays. So, dude, swam great, freaking won the race. The first person in school's history to win this race, guaranteed. Probably to win any race, honestly. But put me in the history books.
I was saying, do you have your Speedo hanging from the rafters? Like, what happens with that?
Oh no, dude, they didn't give a darn about swimming, bro. They don't give a good. I would have had to win state championships to get something like that.
Yeah.
Even with this race and me winning the district, which is really impressive, the referees came to me after the race and they're like, hey, great swim. So because you won the race, let me rephrase that. Great swim. You didn't hit the CIF qualifying time. So that is the state qualifying time. You missed it by a few hundredths or something like that. Or no, not a few hundredths. That's too close. You missed it by a few tenths.
Got it.
But because you won, and obviously like you're the league champ, we'll allow you to do a time trial after the meet. You can try and swim it again. You can try and hit it, and your season doesn't have to be over. You can go on and move to state championships. And this is a moment, this pivotal moment in my life. Dude, I go back to the bleachers and I'm thinking, and I'm like, let me get this straight. These crazy fools, dude, I just swam the fastest I ever swam in my life right now. That's number one. I just swam the fastest I ever swam in my life. Now these crazy fools want me to wait until after the swim meet when no one else is in the pool. It's only me, and everyone is going to be standing around the pool watching me. I got center stage, and want me to swim even faster than I just swam, which again is the fastest I ever went. And everyone there will know if I succeed or fail, which I am. And I'm obviously feeling like I'm probably not about to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Heck no, I'm not doing that, bro. Like, are you freaking? No, that's not even, I don't even feel like that's, at the time of my, I'm like, bro, this is a no-brainer. This is like not even a good opportunity, really. Yeah. And so I didn't do it. My coach didn't force my hand. But when I got home, I told my dad about it. And he was just like, damn, I wish I had been there, dude. I would have talked you into doing it. And ultimately, the conversation that we had from that, it changed my mindset. That was a big paradigm shifting time for me, in that, I promised myself, if there ever came a time in the future where what I had done, what I accomplished, earned me an opportunity to try something greater and bigger, regardless of the likelihood of success, regardless of whether I even truly believe I can accomplish it or not, I'm going to go after it because I owe that to myself. I was the only person at the pool that day who was presented that opportunity, and I squandered it.
Yeah.
So if I ever had a regret, that was a regret that I didn't just go for that swim, So, and that was my high school swimming career, dude. And I came out of high school, coming into senior year, into swim season. I'm a smart guy, almost too smart sometimes, had a great freshman and sophomore, had a great freshman year, but like sophomore to junior year, it's like, dude, homework is overrated. Listen, I'll pay attention to class. I'll show up. I'll do well enough on the test, but like, I feel like we're running in circles here. So needless to say, the last semester of my senior year, dude, I got a 4.0, and that boosted my overall GPA to a reasonable place,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at college, and at this point in time, it's still not, deep down it is maybe inside, but in terms of what I believe, I don't believe it's in my future. I don't believe I have the ability to become a pro swimmer. But I still want this journey to continue. I'm still not done with it yet. Yeah. And so did I get into colleges all over the country, academic scholarships here and there. My only requirement was that any school I went to had a swim team.
Yeah.
Go figure, every single school that offered me a full ride did not have a swim team. None of them.
Yeah.
We're talking about, 10 to, how many colleges are there? We're talking about 10 to 12 schools that were going to just pay for my education, but they didn't have swim teams. And so at this point, I'm like, well, I'm not going to any of those. And I refused to go to a state school. I was like, dude, if I'm going to a state school, I might as well just go to junior college, honestly. So that's where my mindset was. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll be going to Santa Monica College. Shoot, at least they got a swim team, maybe Elko, at least they got a swim team. And just the craziest thing happened. One of my good friends went to Ohio for a meet and greet for a D3 scholarship. This is after graduation, by the way, as a senior. Oh. He went out for a meet and greet because he's going to be going there. Divine intervention, dude. His parents were with him. Somehow they all end up meeting the swim coach at this banquet. They end up talking about me. The swim coach calls me. He's like, hey, I heard you were looking to come swim for somebody. Come swim for me. I got some money for you.
Wow.
There it is. Sight unseen. I fly to Ohio, the boonies, Northeast Ohio, Hiram College. For reference, the nearest McDonald's, the nearest actual town is 3 miles away.
Wow. So it really is in the middle of nowhere.
We're here. The nearest gas station, McDonald's, all this 3 miles away. So again, that's just to put in a frame of reference there. End up going out there sight unseen, man. And my parents and I meet the coach, old school guy, really, really fast back in the 70s. It's his name that's up on all the rafters at this pool, So yeah, it just kind of, again, it's almost like somebody was asking me the other day, what's been the most pivotal moment? I was telling them, you got to understand, in life, I think we all do a disservice when we don't acknowledge that. It's not necessarily one moment, but it's a lot more like this trail of breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Each one just gets you to that point to where you can see the next one.
Yep.
It doesn't 100%. Always make sense.
Yep. No, poignant. And so how did the college swim career go?
It went all right, man.
Did you enjoy college at least? Do you have a good time?
Oh, dude, I did have a good time. It was a great moment, and ultimately, it gave me my career. So I don't advise this. I went to a liberal arts college as a physics major.
Yeah.
And physics major, French minor, just all over the board, dude. But I knew what I liked. Physics major, French minor. And I'm in the swim team, and I just kind of build off of senior year. So now again, I'm swimming 6 months out the year. Boom. After my freshman year, old coach leaves, new coach comes in. Okay, whatever. Have another meet. Maybe like 7 months out the year as a sophomore. Okay. As a junior, I'm like, let me channel that senior year energy. Because I want to have an even better year next year as a senior. Let me channel it now. I commit to it. I'm there from the time school starts. So it's like 9 months. 9 months out of the year now I'm swimming. And again, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows about Charcot-Marie-Tooth. We come to the national championships. My parents fly to Ohio from LA. Dude, I swim it absolute freaking bombed it. Like bombed. I've never been so embarrassed in my life, man. I'm swimming this much faster, like, maybe a couple hundredths or tenths faster than I was in high school 3 years ago. Yeah. My parents are here. I don't make any finals, and our team is the worst team. So even our relay that is in a final gets completely blown out of the water. It's just the most embarrassing experience. Yeah. And it was the closest thing I ever had to depression. It just took me to a place, man, cried the whole bus ride back, man, locked myself in my suite at that time on campus for a couple days. And I came to this point where I realized, like, dang, Jamal, you usually don't emote too much. Dude, you were paralyzed and you weren't knocked off this bad. You know what I'm saying? You probably really care about this. Like this is meaningful to you, really, really meaningful. And that was it. I'm like, well, shoot, maybe I should just try and make this my career. Like if it means this much to me, maybe I should just make this my career. So there you have it. The biggest, most embarrassing fail of my life. I'm like, that is a sign. This is what I should be doing. And so that was it, man. As a junior in college, called up my parents again. February is just a common theme for me here. Called up my parents after these national champs. Hey, I know you guys saw that. I know you don't necessarily think the coaching is the best. I know you think this and the other, but what I'm telling you is that I want to be a pro swimmer. It's already 2016 right now. Rio is happening in a few months. If I want to have any chance at making this team in 4 years, I can't come back to Ohio another year. I got to leave after this year. I can't come back. Dude, amazing people. They're like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Like,
wow. That's amazing.
Right. Not in those words, but in that.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. But support.
That's crazy supportive.
Yeah.
So I just, boom, go into research mode, man. I need the best coach in the world. I don't care where they are. That's where I'm going. I'm on a pilgrimage. Pilgrimage worked out in my favor. Found a great coach at University of Southern California, right here in LA. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm coming home, baby. Perfect. Call up the coach at USC. Hey, Mr. Salo. Yeah, my name's Jamal Hill. I'm going to school in Northeast Ohio right now, man. I'm about to be dropping out this year to move back to LA and start training for the Olympic. I want to know, can I come and join your program? Mr. Completely unknown, completely unranked. I think you said your name was Jamal. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you this. That's a dumb idea. And he's saying this with love.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
That's a dumb idea. You're better off just finishing your degree and then you can like go chasing your fairy tales. And for his physics major, dude, I'm at liberal arts. I at least got 2.5 years, even as a junior.
Yeah.
That's just real. And I know this. I'm like, well, he's like, dude, this is dumb. Don't do it. And so I called him a few more times and ultimately just conveyed the point, like, look, you got to understand this, man. It's happening.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. Like, you can either say yes to me on the phone so I can stop calling you, or you can wait until September when I'm standing outside of the pool every day and let me in there.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, bro. Do you let me know when you're back in LA and you can train with our post grad team. Thank you, sir. God bless you. I appreciate that. Dude, come back to LA. So now it's 2016, right after Rio.
Yeah.
Get right in there at Trojan. Train with them for a year. Swimming with Olympians, the best coaches in the world. And different times coaches say different things like, dude, it seems like you should be able to do this. Why can't you go this fast? Are you just super tight? Why don't your lower legs work when you kick? All these things. And I'm just like, you know what, coach? I'll try harder. I'll try harder. And, ultimately after a year, though, I still hadn't really improved. And at this point, I'm hypersensitive. I know I've wasted a lot of time. Either way, end up meeting a former USC Trojan post-grad athlete out of swimming at UCLA. He's working with this woman, Wilma Wong, this Asian lady, which is an Asian woman head coach is even more rare than a professional Black swimmer. So there you go. There you go. So meet her. She looks me up and down. Again, like people see me, I'm a physical specimen. I work out. I'm a professional athlete. Looks me up and down. You can't see anything wrong with me, right? It's an invisible disability. It's like, yeah, you want to make it to trials and then maybe make the team. I can help you do that. Say less. I leave USC. I'm on a pilgrimage, man. Can't slow down.
100%.
Start working with her for a year. We worked together for a year. After a year, she comes to me and she pulls me aside. She says, look, Jamal, dude, I'm frustrated. Now, these sets I'm giving you, everyone else is improving. They're all able to do these things. Nothing is consistent with you. That's number one. Number two, I look at the way that you climb out of the pool, the way you literally pick your legs up out of the pool, the way you pick your legs up out of the car to put them on the ground before you get out, the way that you don't dive off the board. Like people fly off those boards, so you're like slipping into the water almost. Is there something you're not telling me? Because you really remind me of some of my cerebral palsy patients that I used to work with. I get this big grin. It's like, oh my God. It's been 12 years since this incident. And for the first time in my life, somebody has seen this.
Wow.
Like, I don't have to be the one to make an excuse or to try and explain something that is hard to explain because, again, I don't fit this stigma of disability. I've been seen. So, dude, I was so excited. I'm like, wow, I actually got this thing going on. Funny story. I tell her about it. Next thing she says to me is, well, hey, I know you want to go to the Olympics, but maybe the Paralympics will be a better fit. Complete shift of energy, man. I got stone faced. Never been so offended in my life. Like, yo, don't, as politely as I've ever talked to her, don't ever say that to me again. Don't ever say that to me again. That's not me. I don't identify with that. If anyone had ever asked me, are Olympic and are able and disabled people created equally? Do they deserve the same opportunities? Do any decent human being is going to be like, of course. Let me tell you this, though. You can think what you want to, but as soon as you are actually in those shoes, what you really feel is going to come to the surface. Yeah. I'm like, that is not me. Don't ever say that again. She let it go. A few months go by. It's the summer of 2018 now. Somebody comes and trains with us. We train together. We're diving. We're swimming. We're looking at the video. The guy says out of nowhere, dude, did you know your legs don't work? I'm looking at this dive. You're just falling in. What is this? I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't know that my legs don't work. I got this thing, this disease. And he's like, oh, bro, you got to move to the Paralympics, dude. Like, I got a blind friend. I got this. I got that. And immediately he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Like, he's reading my facial expression. Excuse myself from practice. Humbling experience, man. I'm like, okay, deep breath. Let's look at the facts. Fact. In the last 6 months, 2 people have called me on something that no one has called me on in the past 12 years. They're both ultimately saying the same thing. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe there's something at play bigger than what I understand. Let me just see where this is going. All right, we'll do it, man. We'll do it. I'll check it out. Go to the Paralympics in 2018, end up getting classified. January 2018, I wrote down on a flashcard, I want to win a national championship title. I'm still headed for the Olympic track. This is a long shot. Impossible. This is an impossible goal. Yep. December that same year, I won multiple national championship titles as a part of the Paralympics. So it was great. And ultimately, that 2018 was another pivotal moment that December because two things. Number one, that's when I finally began to just acknowledge and accept myself and open up about all the shame and fear that I had surrounding disability and the stigmas of perceptions, all the girlfriends and guy friends and cousins and this and that I had never told about this that might think I was lying, that might start to look at me less than, I'm already like normally the only Black guy on the pool deck. And so it's like now that's fine. But like now in my mind, I'm on the Paralympic pool deck and I don't stand out as someone with disability. Right. So all eyes are really about to be on me. Like I got to hyper focus. People are trying to figure it out. What is this guy's deal? What's going on with him? Yeah. I broke down, came to my parents, came to my inner circle and communicated that to them. And ultimately they communicated back to me, look, we still love you. You're Jamal. You're great. We don't care what happens. We're with you. That was all I needed, dude. That's what made me kick down that proverbial closet door, step out. And once I did that and started to share my story, dudes just started to take off everything I was doing.
That's awesome. I mean, again, you've just told your story and I've heard bits and pieces of this over time. Like, it's impressive, man. You stuck with something. Like, again, you gave yourself no excuses, even though you frankly had every excuse to take. So it's pretty amazing. And so how'd it go? How was the Olympics?
Oh, listen, and I gotta correct you. They're equal, but they're separate.
Yeah.
Paralympics. It's a different brand.
Please correct me. Yep.
You know what? It was it was a once in a lifetime experience. This Paralympics was my first one ever, and it took place in the COVID-19 context. So a lot of the fantasies and stories and all these wild things that we've all heard about the Olympics and the games and stuff like that, that wasn't this.
Right.
This was a very antisocial environment. It was designed that way, and obviously even having language barriers that you can usually overcome through body language and things like that. We're all wearing masks. The dining hall is all like private little booths where you eat your food. Nothing is meant to enable communication and more interaction that's necessary. So that was one thing about just that was one aspect of the experience. But on the performance side of the experience, I feel like in some ways you had to be even more on your mental game, and not having the crowd there and not having distractions, I know for a fact threw a lot of people off.
Yep.
The average day for us before a competition was like sleep for 8 hours, go to the pool for 2 hours. You got 14 hours in the day now, and all you got is Wi-Fi. There's nothing to do. You're just hanging out, a lot of time to overthink and to outdo yourself. And then you come into the event, and a stadium that would normally be filled with 20, 30,000 people is empty.
Yeah.
And you're lining up for the biggest race of your life up until this point, something that everybody here has been working for 5 years, but really a lifetime.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, to be able to finish that race and ultimately just to be able to medal, to win a bronze was fantastic. My favorite experience, though, my absolute favorite experience from the games, it wasn't the podium. It wasn't getting the medal. It was when I finished the race that I won the medal in. I touched the wall, and we've all seen the swimming races, right? They touch the wall, they spin around real quick to try and see what the place and the time was. I touched the wall and I didn't turn around. In my peripheral, I could see that one person had out-touched me. And right, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. How many people can you afford to let beat you to the wall to still get a necklace? You know what I'm saying? You can only let 2 people beat you to get a necklace in any event. So I knew one person out-touched me, and it was a close race. Gold medal was 4 tenths faster. Silver was 2 tenths faster, and I was bronze. It was like we were all separated by, it's like, you know what I'm saying, faster than I can make it sound. But I touched that wall, and I didn't turn around and look at the board. I shook my competitors' hands. I can hear them cheering. But in that moment, what I was doing was just taking the time to acknowledge and have gratitude for myself separate from whatever the result was.
Yep. That's so important.
Like, dude, I knew that I don't know if the time showed or not, but I knew that I brought my best and that I had swam a damn near perfectly technical race. And I had truly left it all in the water. And I needed that. I needed to have that self-love and appreciation and gratitude, regardless if I saw that I came in sixth.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't need to just only be valuable because I came in third, second, or first. So, dude, I never would have turned around. I would have got out of literally my plan was to get out of the pool, never turn around, and like just look at the result sheet backstage. That was my plan. But then one of my teammates starts calling my name, Jamal, ah. And I'm like, well, look, they don't call your name for fourth and fifth place, baby. I know that. I ain't never been here before, but I know that. I know that much. They don't call your name if you're not top three. Yeah. So, you know, I turned around and it was great, man. This just, you know, obviously everyone there is the best wherever they're from. They're all literally champions. That's what it is. It's the competition for world champions. So a lot of people don't make it. And then a lot of people who make it there, most don't come back with the necklace. Most don't come back with the medal. So to be able to bring this back and have some tangible validation to all the work and time that not only I invested, but all of the dude, even when you and I, man, like that was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Still working on this. I had just come back from the Pan American Games, you know, at that time when we first met. So to even have all these experiences and to have been able to almost like just take you all on this journey with me to this point.
Yep.
You know, like,
no, it's been fun, man, watching on social media and everything. It's been, and you've got a decent following. Like a lot of people have enjoyed watching the journey. Like it's cool to see. So I got 2 more questions for you. Number one, biggest one, what's next?
Oh yeah, well next is Paris. I mean, just in terms
of so you are training for Paris.
Yeah, I'm already training for Paris.
Nice.
I'm swimming more than I was swimming before Tokyo. 2 big things about that. Number one is Paris is only 2.5 years away.
Yep.
So it's gonna come quick, right? We just came off a 5-year stint, so 2.5 years is like, we can do that.
Yeah.
The second thing regarding it is, before my first games, dude, I was talking a big game. I'm like, yeah, I'm going Tokyo, winning 4 golds. I'm going Paris, cleaning up. I'm going LA, 2028, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, after the games and after having, because when you're in the grind, you don't have time to stop and count your eggs. You're working.
Yeah.
After a process, and I truly understand how freaking hard the last 5 years really were, I got sober, dude. I'm taking it 1 game at a time.
Yeah, that's good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right now, there's Paris. If I accomplish all my goals in Paris, as attractive as LA 28 sounds,
hometown. Rep at the hometown. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And last question is for someone going for their dreams or someone that, you know, wants to aspire to be something great. What do you think's the like one piece of advice you either wish you received or you did receive that helped you go along the way? What do you think is that one? I'm sure there's a lot of things, but what's one key thing that's in your head about this?
You guys got a lot of gems in this, so go back through and check it out.
Yeah.
One thing I would say that's just on my heart right now is time is going to pass no matter what. Mm-hmm. No matter what you decide to do with your life, whether you decide to pursue that dream or not, 5 years from now, 5 years will have passed, and you'll look at that 5 years, and however you spent it is how you spent it. For me, when I set out on this impossible mission, yeah, of course, we all want to have a win. We all want to be victorious, but I knew for a fact that however it ended, as long as I took the chance and got after it, I could live with that.
Yep.
And that 5 years from now, whether I was where I wanted to be or not, I would know how I spent that last 5 years and what it was in pursuit of. And that would be enough. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough, dude. Life is life. That happens. Mm-hmm. But what I couldn't live with was 5 years passing and me being one of those guys or girls that's like, well, if this, if that, if the other, maybe next time. That's it, man. The next 2.5 years are going to pass no matter what I do.
Yep.
So you only got one life.
Exactly. Might as well go for it.
You might as well go for it, man. Spend that time. Spend that time how you want to spend it, because once it's gone, you don't get it back.
Amen. Well, Jamal, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on HawkeTalk.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, Eric. And thank Hawke Media for just having this podcast. It's been great to see your company grow and to be a part of this podcast.
Absolutely.